Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Trey, and I want to talk about the mistreatment of Batman and Spider-Man by the studios. And the reason why I want to talk about that, it kind of follows up to the Batman movie and how people are trying to tell me I need to give it a chance. It's gonna be great. This is gonna be amazing, and it reminds me of the same parallels of the MCU Spider-Man when Tom Holland took over, and everybody was trying to say, "Oh, this is gonna be amazing. This is gonna be the best Spider-Man that we ever had," and it usually ends up not being that at all. And the Batman is giving me MCU Spider-Man vibes, where sure, he's Spider-Man in name, and that's about all the hell it is Spider-Man in name only, and that's it. Like, I don't see Batman in name only. And the reason why I want to talk about this is because with Spider-Man No Way Home coming out, it kind of rejuvenate people's appreciation of Andrew Garfield, right? And we already know with the Flash movie and Justice League Snyder cut, it has a rejuvenation of Ben Affleck's Batman that people want to see more. And yet the studios were both being stupid throughout the time that Andrew Garfield and Ben Affleck were, Spider-Man and Batman. And, both studios were the ones who self-sabotaged those actors and then threw them under the bus and tried to blame them for their failures. That the studio was the one that was doing it. So I always kind of find it weird that people don't understand, people don't see the parallels that's about to happen right now. Because what's gonna happen is this movie's gonna come out. There are gonna be people who watch the movie who are gonna say that this is probably the best Batman movie, and then there are gonna be people who watch the Batman movie and was like, this was not close to Batman at all. And it's going to create a division. It's gonna be like, he does not look like Spider-Man, and I'm quite sure somebody's gonna be like, oh, this is the most comic book accurate version of him, just like they were saying about Tom Holland, which we all know is not true. These young portrayals of these superheroes tend to not even be close to anything of the original one. And that's the problem when you're trying to do something, when you're trying to do like a young version of these characters, which is fine. You can always do young versions of the characters. But if you can't stay true to them, if you have to change your origins, like, let's be honest, the MCU Spider-Man skipped over the Uncle Ben thing. He ain't never mentioned Uncle Ben, so we don't really know what the feeling is about Uncle Ben. We don't know how close it was. Then they de-aged Aunt May and made her this young hot thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not Aunt May, And it's gonna be the same thing with the Waynes. They probably gonna have the Waynes involved into something more than what they need to be, and it's gonna connect with the Riddler for no damn reason. And that's gonna be one of the crux of the problem, where they're gonna be like, oh, here we go again. They're trying to paint the Waynes as something that they're not. You know what I'm saying? And that would be the problem for the Batman thing. I believe that's what's gonna happen is, oh, well, Thomas Wayne isn't as good as you thought. Oh, for fuck's sakes. He has a dark past, and there was a reason why the Waynes were targeted that night instead of it being an accident. Always trying to revamp that history to try to be like, oh, it wasn't a mere accident. It was destined to happen, or whatever, or it was planned to happen because Thomas this or whatever. And you're just like, oh, for fuck's sakes, go to hell. Oh shit. So it's one of those kind of things where, you kind of have to be like, okay, sure. And then they're doing like these origins, sort of like after they became the character, but the characters are not probably going to act like themselves. Like, they're going to be in name only. Like, Robert Pattinson's probably going to be Bruce Wayne name only. That's about it. Other than that, his mannerism, the way he acts, is nowhere going to be close to Batman. And that'll be the same thing with Tom Holland. Tom Holland is Peter Parker in name only. He doesn't have the quirks of Peter Parker. He doesn't show the intelligence of Peter Parker. He's just Peter Parker in name only. And that is the fault of the studio. But that's the one where everybody's gonna be like, oh man, this is amazing because it's such a different take on the character. Then it's not the character. If you gotta completely change the character to where he's not even personality wise or look or feel like the character, then you kind of failed as doing something different. And you have these studios, Sony and Marvel, and then you have WB. When it comes to Batman and Spider-Man, especially the Ben Affleck and Andrew Garfield one, they self-sabotaged those actors to the point where those actors walked away from the role and negotiations broke down. Of course, negotiations are going to break down. You mistreated them in the franchise. You the ones who said, hey, add this, do this, take this out. And then when you didn't like the critical reception that you got from the audience, then you blamed the actors, or you tried to make it more difficult for them to do the role to the point where they walk away and was like, screw this shit. And that's what you did. You self-sabotaged those two actors, and you never fully let them be Batman and Spider-Man just so you can jump to rebooting the character as a younger character. Like, it just makes no logical sense. Instead of actually doing something different than the same old, oh, Batman is young again, or Spider-Man is in high school again. Y'all never go past their deeper stories. You know, WB, y'all was the ones who told Zack Snyder to scrap Man of Steel 2 and put Batman in Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice, and then we'll do solo movies afterwards, instead of letting him do Man of Steel, Wonder Woman, and the Batman first. That was y'all. Then y'all cut the fucking scenes out. Y'all the ones who cut the damn scenes out. Oh, we need to condense the movie because, you know, we don't need, people aren't going to sit there and watch a long movie. Yeah, they would have. If you, with the scenes in the context, yeah, they actually would have. Then in Justice League, instead of Batman being his serious self, let's make him the butt of the joke. Oh yeah, something is bleeding. All right. Like, what the? Come on now. That's not Batman. Batman would never joke in a period or be a laughing stock. And that's what you did. Then you took advantage of the fact that Ben Affleck was going through tough times with his wife as well, his ex-wife, Jennifer Gardner, and you used that to, like, kind of force his hand. The same thing you did when Zack and his wife lost their daughter. You twisted their arms, and then you set up there and kind of forced them out of the roles because of some shit that y'all did. Again, y'all the ones who wanted to do these changes. Y'all the ones who wanted to make these cuts. But you jumped headstrong, and because you didn't like the reception that you were getting from the audience, because you wanted MCU money that quick, forgetting that you actually have to build a universe. Remember, the Marvel movies didn't start off with $1 billion. And the $1 billion for the Batman movie didn't happen until the third damn Dark Knight movie. Which, remember, there was 2 other damn movies that was built up, you dumb fuckers. Like, what the hell was you possibly thinking? Then you got Andrew Garfield and Amazing Spider-Man. Oh, let's set up this Sony Spider-Man universe because we have Spider-Man characters. But, you know, with the Amazing Spider-Man 2, we're gonna set up this whole we're gonna focus on Gwen Stacy, and Peter's love quarrel, and we're also going to introduce Harry Osborn, and we're going to introduce the Rhino, and Electro's going to be the main villain, but we're also going to set up Felicia Hardy so that way she can transition into Black Cat for the Black Cat and Silver Sable movie, and then we're going to have the Man in Black. He's going to be setting up scenes because after Amazing Spider-Man, we're going to do a Sinister Six movie, and then we're going to do Amazing Spider-Man 3, and then we're going to introduce Mary Jane Watson so she can be there, so she can form her friendship with Gwen Stacy. And it's just like, motherfuckers, y'all doing too much in one movie. The movie was a uncoherent mess. Because you told Mark Webb to add all of this bullshit in there to set up other spin-off movies instead of actually solely focusing on a movie like you did in the first Amazing Spider-Man. The first Amazing Spider-Man was not a bad movie at all. Sure, there was a little bit of weird choices, but after that, it was a decent Spider-Man movie. And I would have loved to see where it could have went to. And then, Amazing Spider-Man 2 come out and it becomes hot shit. Because y'all, the studio, wanted to put all that bullshit in there. And then when things went wrong, you try to blame the actor or the director or whatever, or the writers. But again, this was mandated by y'all, the studio. So yeah, the mistreatment of Batman and Spider-Man comes down to the studios, especially when we're talking about Ben Affleck's Batman and Andrew Garfield Amazing Spider-Man. And then y'all want to do these new versions of Spider-Man and Batman and then think that everybody's supposed to give it a chance. No. To this day, I do not like the MCU Spider-Man. Y'all can talk about it's the most accurate. It ain't. Literally the only saving grace from the MCU Spider-Man was Spider-Man No Way Home, and it was really because I knew Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire was in that movie. If they wasn't in that movie, I would not spend any money to go see the MCU Spider-Man. I really wouldn't, because he's not Spider-Man. And then what's happening is now Marvel and Sony want to try to fix the MCU Spider-Man. It's just a little too late, a little too long, and I can't wait. Yeah. You should have did that before. You should have did that. Or instead of being selfish and actually giving Andrew Garfield what he needed, because you could have put Andrew Garfield in Captain America Civil War. Would have made way more logical sense. But no. Let's reboot the motherfucker. And now he's what's the MCU Spider-Man called? Iron Boy Jr. Yeah. And then instead of letting Ben Affleck do a Arkhamverse style Batman movie, let's do year 1, year 2 Batman with Twilight sparkly vampire bitch, because he redeemed himself to the industry. Okay, sure, to the industry, but not to the audience. The audience still look at him as what's the goddamn name? Edward. Fuck, I forgot the goddamn vampire name. Edward. And what does everybody always talk about? Oh, the fact that he sparkled in the damn sunlight and he's supposed to be a damn vampire. So again, you're giving me a Batman and a Spider-Man that's nowhere close to the Batman and Spider-Man that I know. Bruce Wayne about to be emo Kurt Cobain, and Peter Parker is literally Iron Boy Jr. You ain't did nothing different for the characters. You know what I'm saying? And that sucks, because the previous actors were excellent in their roles. It's just that they didn't have a powerful enough script, and they didn't have a studio that fully trusted what was going on, and they had a studio that was also self-sabotaging and trying to set up other movies within their movies. You make that make sense. Or force something into the movies that shouldn't have been there. Come on now. But yeah, oh, this is great. This is great. This is going to be amazing. This is what people are going to say, and this is what's going to happen because we've seen it with the MCU Spider-Man. It comes out, people are going to be like, this is the most amazing portrayal of Spider-Man ever, when it's really not. And it's going to be the same thing with the Batman. This is going to be the most, but it's not, because there's always going to be the fact that the characters are completely different, because you can already look and tell that Batman and Catwoman and Riddler are not going to be the classic versions of themselves or even close to comic book accurate to them. Just like the Vulture. We already, like, let's be honest, the Vulture and Mysterio were not Mysterio and Vulture. They were Iron Man villains, but just dressed up as Spider-Man villains. Ooh, tell somebody. Tell somebody. You didn't want to hear that. Don't want to hear that. Mysterio is the only thankfully Mysterio looked like Mysterio, but Vulture didn't even look like the damn Vulture. I'm just being honest. And literally the only thing that I'm looking forward to from The Flash is to see Ben Affleck. I'm not even excited that excited to see Michael Keaton's Batman, because it's Michael Keaton's Batman. I'm sorry, we had enough time with you. I'd rather the Flash movie be focusing on Flash and Ben Affleck's Batman. That would have been way more exciting. Or Jeffrey Dean Morgan Batman, which again would have made way more sense than Michael Keaton's Batman. I don't even know what the fuck y'all was thinking with that one, but okay, it is what it is. But it's just kind of funny that the studio self-sabotaged Ben Affleck and Andrew Garfield Spider-Man and Batman, and and then reboot them with some young versions of themselves that are nowhere close to what the characters were previously. And now there are appreciation for Ben Affleck and Andrew Garfield, Batman and Spider-Man, because people see what was on the surface that just wasn't able to be fleshed out because of studio mandate. It's always funny when studios actually self-sabotage some of the characters that they have and then try to reboot them and then be confused that, fans reject it. But it is what it is. I mean, this is what happens when you have studio heads who don't really know the characters at all, and fans who really don't read the comic books or care about the actual story. They just want to see Batman or Spider-Man, and that's understandable. Go ahead, see it, but it's just kind of weird when you're like a fan of this stuff and you're seeing these characters being bastardized for people who never really cared about these characters outside of TV shows and movies and video games, maybe. I don't know. I just always find it kind of weird, to be honest. But it is what it is, to be honest. But tell me what you guys think in the comment section below, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.